It feels like every time that Sega releases a new Yakuza game, Nagoshi has to come out and issue this blanket statement, this weird anti-Nintendo sentiment, this anti-Switch narrative. Switch is for kids. I don't want to put Yakuza on Switch. It's for kids and teens. I only make games for adults. Again, it's the newest iteration of the same old song and dance we've been seeing for years now from basically every other company out there, from Square Enix to Capcom to Konami to basically every third party. Like, this is the narrative that they've been sticking with for years, is that we don't want to support Nintendo hardware because it's for children. Like, never mind the vast number of adult fans who still love Nintendo games. Never mind, the fact that Nintendo appeals to families who, of course, are made up of adults, you know what I mean? Like, never mind that Nintendo. Never mind that you could create your own adult audience on Nintendo hardware. Like, no, let's support PlayStation and Xbox. Let's ignore Nintendo and just put our games on everything else. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I've been saying this like time and time again. I've been really pushing the industry to go to a Nintendo only future. There is simply no reason for PlayStation and Xbox to exist. Like, when you get right down to it, there is no reason at all for this guy to be not putting Yakuza primarily on Nintendo consoles. Persona primarily on Nintendo consoles. Any of these other Japanese third-party games on Nintendo consoles. In fact, it's kind of embarrassing that it's not, considering how much more prevalent Nintendo Switch is in Japan compared to its competition. But no, you're still seeing these people come out and cry about Nintendo. They know they can't compete with Nintendo on their hardware, so they're desperately trying to get Nintendo to become irrelevant. They are desperately trying to get Nintendo to leave the hardware industry. This has always been the goal. Like, I don't know how plainly I can say this. Anyone who seriously argues that, people like Rich Evans from Red Letter Media, seriously advocates for, everything should be on every platform. No. What they're advocating for is everything should be on Xbox, PlayStation, or PC. They're not saying it should come to Nintendo under any circumstances. They just don't want Naughty Dog games to only be on Play. They don't want, there to be this situation where their preferred platform, a PC usually, is left in the dust by the consoles, right? They don't really stop and consider, maybe if there weren't 4 different primary gaming platforms, I could have everything on one platform. They don't stop to think, maybe if I just supported Nintendo, if I only bought on Nintendo, if everyone only bought on Nintendo, if Nintendo was the only console manufacturer out there, everything would be on Nintendo. Logically speaking. This is so fucking stupid. It always has been. You don't need PlayStation, Xbox, or PC when you get right down to it. And this is really evident in these kind of statements from people like Nagoshi, in which they can't come up with an actual reason to not support Nintendo, because it is to their benefit to continue supporting these other platforms. Because if they had to primarily support Nintendo, their games would be rightfully derided for being stale, repetitive, and derivative of themselves. How has Yakuza innovated over the past several years? Not at all, right? It's the same thing over and over again. Call of Duty, Halo, compared to Nintendo, which can actually, innovate on their franchises and do something new. Stuff like Yakuza comes off very, very short. You know what I mean? It's embarrassing in a lot of ways. It's ridiculous. They simply can't compete with Nintendo, and it's this envy. It's this fact that sort of motivates them to make these weird statements like this, that like we can't put our games on Nintendo because it's underpowered, it's for kids, it's for teenagers, people only buy Nintendo games on Nintendo consoles. Like they'll do anything under the sun to continue this narrative. Like they'll say anything it takes to get people to maybe believe them that Nintendo is the problem. Nintendo is responsible for this. No, in reality, it's them. It's their decision. It's their narrative. Like, it's what they want to do, and you shouldn't let them do that. This is why I am never buying a full priced non-Nintendo game ever again. If it's not on Switch, I'll wait till it comes out on Game Pass. I'm not missing out on a whole lot, believe me, but. Yakuza, I played through like 0, Kiwami 1 and 2 on Game Pass. Didn't have to buy them. Just paid for them on just played them on Game Pass. Not a big deal. Again, not buying Yakuza 7 until it comes to Switch like it should have done day one. I do think the reason Nagoshi is the one specifically to come out against this is because Yakuza is one of the very, very few video game franchises that anyone is enthusiastic about in the current year. It actually had like a lot of legitimate momentum for a while there due to the success of Zero, but no, like if he keeps doing this, if he keeps slandering the most popular gaming platform in the world, he is going to see a lot of pushback. And I have been seeing a lot of that on Twitter, in which a lot of people, including myself, have been making fun of him because his views on Nintendo and Yakuza's place on them are completely ridiculous. Yakuza should absolutely not only come to Switch, it in every other video game franchise out there should be exclusive to Switch. There should be no other console. Like, Nintendo Switch is the way to go. # make the Switch.